The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact the lads right now, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Email us right now, realityradio101 at yahoo.com. And now, right to your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Canadian Cigar Scene with myself, Kevin Newell, and my co-host, Julian Luke. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, doing good, Kevin. Just looking forward to today because I can't believe we've got a first here. Our first international guest of all time is going to be on the show.
Oh, buddy, get ready for it. We got a special guest for us, and it's a pretty cool way we've met this guy, actually, too. Before we get in with our guest, let's shoot the breeze for a minute. Ooh, that was close.
Good catch.
Because the kids might be listening. You
They
never
could
know.
be.
Yeah, that's right. What's new? What's going on? How's the golf game?
The golf game is not as much practice as I wish it had. However, I've got to say that I'm hitting the ball off the start of the season far better than I've ever hit it. Just getting a little more loosey-goosey with age. You know, all that arthritis and stuff, it's all counterbalancing each other.
I think it's the beer that you counteract with and makes you
Possibly.
loosey-goosey. Absolutely.
Possibly.
Absolutely. It's been a strange start to the season, though, hasn't it? I mean, there hasn't been a lot of golf going on. The weather's been kind of crappy, and, I mean, this weekend was fantastic. We had a great weekend this weekend.
And people just seem busy. I think that's the thing. It's more often than not, guys are saying that they've got time for, 9 holes, but 18 holes, it's just getting a little bit tough. But, hey, 'tis what it is.
Yeah, you got to make time for it, right? You got to make time. So, again, Jew, why are we doing this show?
Well, hey, we just want to make sure that Canadians have a voice in the cigar world. We were looking at some demographics, and it turns out that the population of Ontario, for example, is bigger than all but 3 of the populations of specific states in the United States. So, we kind of have a lot of people here, and there are a lot of cigar smokers, but we've never really had a voice. So this is our opportunity to let people know what's going on in the Canadian cigar scene.
Yeah, I think it's important as well to let manufacturers know that how big a market this is in the GTA even alone. I mean, it's a massive market. They need to bring all their cigars up here. Let's I know we got a brutal tax structure, but we deal with it, and there's nothing they can do about it. So let's get those cigars up in this country.
And bring the full line of cigars, too,
That's right.
Because there's nothing more frustrating for somebody than hearing about a cigar or seeing a write-up in Cigar Snob or Aficionado or something like that, and then finding out that you can't get it in Canada.
Absolutely. I'll go through a few things in a couple of the magazines that later on through at the show that did a little bit of research and saw a few new products that look pretty interesting that hopefully we'll get in Canada soon. Quick shout-out to our friends in Aruba and Bermuda and Denmark and Iceland and Russia. Fantastic. Thanks for your support. We really appreciate it. And, of course, we can never forget Canada and the United States. And the USA brings up a great segue here because our co-host tonight is from the United States. His name is actually Brian Leake, but his actual name is New Jersey Leakster. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Now, this is kind of a crazy thing, how we've built this sort of relationship with our group of guys and us at the shop. You know, I mean, this was all based on Twitter, wasn't it?
For sure. Yep.
Like, how does that happen? You know, I mean, you just sort of send out flags, and our guys get in contact with your guy, with you, and you know, and then you get in contact with us, and the next thing you know, you're going on cigar junkets with these guys. You're coming up to the shop. I mean, you've been up to the shop a few times now. It's been
yes,
fantastic.
this is my third visit up here.
It's fantastic. I really appreciate your support for us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I mean, when did you start to get involved with Twitter and the cigar world? I mean,
Twitter came about 3 years ago, I would say. My wife kind of pointed me in the direction. I was purely a Facebook fan originally.
Yeah.
And then my wife had said, "Oh, you should get on Twitter. It's live interaction. It's, you know, direct contact and almost immediate replies with other people as if you're having a conversation like we are now."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And initially I was only following like news and things like that. And then I decided, okay, well, maybe I'll follow some cigar companies. And I got on with that. And then I found some through that. I guess there were people linked or they follow those same cigar companies, and I had one follower after another after another after another. And before I knew it, I had, you know, 500, 600, 700 people and following me on Twitter, and it was
impressive.
And likewise back.
And I think the thing is, you have to, if you're active in it, which it sounds like you obviously were, that's what makes it more appealing for everybody to friend other people. I mean, if you're active in it, people want to see that interaction, you know?
Definitely. And before I knew it, I mean, there were people from Australia, England, here in Canada, others in the United States, you know, Dominican Republic, like Jose Blanco.
Fantastic.
And there were just a ton of people. Yeah. And before I knew it, I had 900 and something followers. And I was like, wow, this is nuts. I said, you can't do this on Facebook. You know, in my wildest dreams, I would never have imagined.
So let's back up for a second.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So first off, what the hell do you do for a living?
I work for a small health insurance company in Albany, New York.
Okay.
And I work in the provider relations department. And I've been with that company about 8 years now.
Okay, so where were you born?
I was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Okay.
It's not far outside of Newark in New York City.
Yep.
And I grew up in Bloomfield, New Jersey, which is just west of that, near Giant Stadium or MetLife Stadium as it's known
cool.
now.
Okay, and where do you live now?
Clifton Park, New York, it's about 10 miles, 16 kilometers north of Albany.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm just curious, in the heyday, you know, when you were a younger guy, a younger cat, you know, you were living in Joycey.
I was.
You know, I mean, you must have been popping in Manhattan all the time, just having a blast.
I was over there practically once a week when I
man.
was younger in those days, like in college age and even into my 30s. I was over there quite a bit.
It must have been a bit of a shit show over there, though, eh?
It is, but
at that time, I mean, it was a dangerous town back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would have been the mid 90s, early 90s, and that was when, you know, they're having crime issues.
Yeah.
It was sort of around the time when the bombings happened at the Port Authority building in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Which caused me to not go into Manhattan for quite some time until things sort of settled down. But yeah, I mean, I would go on a Friday night or a Saturday night. It was only a half-hour drive at most. And I would either go to Little Italy, Chinatown, Midtown. I wasn't big into the place, you know, going into Broadway and all that, but I would go into, you know, Little Italy and Chinatown was mostly where I went. I mean, you can eat your way through there. And,
oh, absolutely.
For not much money in those days. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been into Manhattan in quite some time in that area.
Still
but
great.
It's still great.
It's still an awesome town. I was there.
You can have all your noodles and all your cannolis afterwards for dessert, and you're on your way.
Absolutely. So I mean, you know, as time progressed, you know, sort of like 9/11 happened. Anything? How did that affect you personally? Did you?
Well, at the time, I still had family in New Jersey, which I still do. My brother lives there. I was living in Albany at the time.
Okay.
And we had a broadcast over our loudspeakers that the bombings had happened, or the plane crashes into the World Trade Center. So of course they assembled everybody in the cafeteria, which had flat screen TVs posted, and we could watch the news. And my brother had said, you know, he was supposed to go into New York City that day, and luckily he didn't. He had to go in there for work, and he ended up having to stay in New Jersey for whatever reason. He wasn't able to make the trip in, which I guess is lucky for him. And so we ended up assembling everybody in the cafeteria, and they said, okay, we're going to shut at noon. We want everybody to go home. And be with their families, get on the TV, just watch the national news.
Yeah.
You know, as it was on constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I, of course, I didn't even feel like driving at that point. I was so sort of, unnerved. I wasn't sure I wanted to make the 20-minute trip home from work, but I decided to just kind of go home and put the news on, and called my mother to make sure she was okay, and my brother said he was all right. So that was good that neither of them. But, being that they were very close to it, they were only within a half hour's drive of that.
It's still, I mean, even when you say about the planes crashing into the buildings, I mean, it gives you, hair stands up on your arms.
Yeah, it did for me too. And I had been back into the to the site a few years later, probably about 3 or 4 years later. I had gone back to see after they had things cleaned up, just to sort of pay my respects and all that sort of thing. As there were many people going through there, it's just a long line of people that sort of just shuttled through. Yeah. And there were these days they've got the new memorial up, which I haven't been to see yet.
Oh, it's fantastic! I was there a couple of months ago, and it is spectacular.
Yeah, I do need to get to see that at some point.
It's a solemn place, but it's really cool.
Sure.
And I was talking with JT from Davidoff. He says they're opening their flagship store right across the street from that memorial. It's going to be their flagship in Manhattan.
Oh wow!
For Davidoff, so it's going to be a massive building that they've got going up.
And,
great! I think they're going to pay tribute to the to that area as well, in some fitting ways. I think we'll check that out in the future when they have the shop actually going. Sorry, Gio, I'm taking up all.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm just wondering when you guys are going to start talking cigars here. Holy jumping.
That's where we're going right now. That's where we're heading. Okay, so young Jersey boy grows up out of New York, out of the Jersey area. So when did cigars come into your life?
Cigars seriously turned into my life probably about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
I really got into them. Previous to that, I would more or less dabble in them.
Yep.
I wasn't as avid as a smoker as I am now, but and mainly because I never really had the opportunity. And for me, it's all about the camaraderie. It's odd for me to smoke on my own. Yeah. I generally need other people next to me.
Yeah.
So I had a good buddy back home who I was the best man in his wedding, and he had said, I've got a big yard. Bring some cigars. We'll have some beers and smoke in the yard. He had a big screened-in tent, so the bugs kept off us, and we were fine, and we would just light up. Back in those days, I wasn't really. I didn't care too much about what I smoked. It was more or less, whatever we had on hand.
Just a smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I became a little more educated about cigars. I ended up becoming very brand loyal, and I got to know which ones I really like, which wrappers I like, which, fillers and that sort of thing, and the sizes.
So, just to stop you, don't mean to interrupt you, but
that's okay.
So where did you get your cigar knowledge then? I mean, was it just through reading, internet? Was it just through trial and error with smoking, talking to your friends?
A lot of it was trial and error. Yeah. A lot of it back then was through friends. I have a big network of guys that I go to the cigar events with that happen annually down in Pennsylvania. There's the Cigar Fest, which is in the Poconos, and then Cigar Naveau, which is in Easton, Pennsylvania, not far from the Poconos.
Yep.
And Cigar Fest was, back home in Albany. I have 10 or 12 guys that we all go every year. And the last time I went to that was 2013. I've been going to the Cigar Naveau event for the past 2 years, including just last weekend.
So you were at Cigar Naveau last weekend.
I was, yes.
All right, fill me in.
It's excellent. It's a great event.
So let me get this straight. You went with some guys from Victory Cigars, the Victory Group. A bunch of those guys.
Yes,
that's very
I did.
cool. How awesome!
It was awesome. They sat at our table, and I actually drove down with two buddies of mine from Albany, and we met up with Mike Reed and Paul Tyler and Alex, and we had a good time.
Awesome.
Mike McEthrin went also.
Yep. Okay. So who'd you hobnob with in at Cigar Naveau as far as like cigar celebs?
I didn't hobnob with as much as Mike and Alex. The guys from Victory hobnobbed with the Drew Estate crew, but I didn't do that. They were lucky enough to be invited into the VIP area,
Very
cool. They were very very lucky to have done that. But it's a great event. I mean, you sit around and have cigars and you have beer all day, and that's all included. And
So do you pay like one admission price, and then you
do.
just and then how does
You
that work?
can-
Do they
you
give
can
you a
either
bag
do-
of cigars at the door, or do you walk around and get your cigars? Or
Yeah, you can do a 1-day pass or a 2-day pass.
Okay.
If you do a 1-day pass, you get one group of cigars on the way in, plus you have to go from vendor to vendor and collect your free tickets. So
Okay.
you get like a little duffel bag full of cigars. If you do a 2-day pass, you get that twice plus the vendor ones. So you end
Wow.
up with maybe a little over 100 cigars from the event, but you pay one package, but your food and beer is all included.
wow,
The only thing you have to pay for is if you want a cocktail.
What do you, oh my
It's
god,
an awesome event.
This sounds like is this put on? This is in heaven, right?
Pretty
is-
close. If
this-
Easton, Pennsylvania is heaven, then that's it. Yep.
Just like Joyce.
It's a great setting. The weather I wish was a little better, but it was a great setting.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
And all the big retailers are there.
All the big retailers
So-
are there. The
so-
only one that wasn't there was Alec Bradley, surprisingly enough.
Well, we already had
but-
him in victory, so I mean,
Yes, that's true.
He was exhausted.
That's right. He's on holiday right now in Colorado.
That's
actually.
right. And hopefully in a few years' time, Cuban cigars will make it in.
That's right. That's well, you know
We
what?
should be so lucky.
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
have to wait and see. I mean, that's part of the reason you come up to Canada, isn't it?
It most certainly is,
Taste
yes.
the forbidden fruit, as they call it.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Absolutely. He will not. If anybody on the border control is listening, he will not be bringing any back to USA. Will not be.
That's right. Don't record my license plate number.
That's right. Well, you know what? We've been gabbing for quite a bit here. I think it's time for us to take a quick 2-minute break here, just to let everybody know you are listening to Canadian Cigar Scene on realityradio101.com.
Looking for a great place to go for excellent coffee and delicious treats? Come visit us at 3 Steps Up Coffee House in Whitby. Our coffee is made with freshly ground free trade coffee beans that are brewed at just the right temperature for the ultimate coffee drinking experience. Try one of our mouth-watering handmade treats that allow you to enjoy a little slice of heaven. We offer hearty organic soups such as butternut squash with toasted almonds and sweet potato, carrot, and ginger. There is something for everyone, from healthy salads to gourmet sandwiches and delectable chocolate treats. Contact us to find out more about our amazing catering services. Find us at 605 Brock Street North in Whitby, Ontario. Licensed under the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Seating for private functions and events available. Contact us by phone at 905-430-7817 or check out our website at www.3stepsup.weebly.com. 3 Steps Up Coffee House. 3 steps up to a perfect cup.
Put the special into your special event. With our finger on the pulse of today's event scene, we provide for all your entertainment needs. Amuse and amaze with look-alike performers, illusionists, and interactive entertainment. Fill the air with jazz, dance music, classic rock, Latin, and disco. Thrill your guests with tarot and psychic readings. And treat the kids with children's entertainers, face painting, inflatables, and more. When your reputation is on the stage, let our reputation for excellence earn you a standing ovation. For more information, visit aratoevents.com.
The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
Feel it, see it, hear it today. If you can't, then it doesn't matter anyway. You will never understand it cause it happens too fast. And it feels so good, it's like walking on glass. It's so cool, it's so hip, it's alright. It's so groovy, it's out of sight. You can touch it,
Welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Jillian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Email us right now, realityradio101 at yahoo.com. And now, back to your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Jillian Luke and Kevin Newell.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene with myself, Kevin, and Jew. Welcome back, boys and girls. Let's before we get back to Leakster, we're going to have a quick segue here to the cigar events. Jew, we got a few things going on at the shop. It's been we're getting into the dog days of summer here, which is a great thing. We have Craft Beer Saturdays kicking off again on July 18th. Saturday, July 18th, we have Five Paddles Brewery coming in.
Where are they from?
They're from Whitby.
All right.
Yeah,
they're the guys I've been hearing about.
Yeah, fantastic guys. Been to their brewery quite a few times, and the guys are doing a great job. And I think they're actually going to be brewing up a special beer for just that day. It's going to be fantastic.
Ooh, cigars and beer.
Absolutely. We have set the date for the second annual October Cigar Fest at Victory Cigars. It'll be held on Saturday, September 19th. You're going to wonder, what is October Cigar Fest? Well, if you like beer, brought in the exact beer from Germany that they use for Oktoberfest. If you like great German fare, if you like nice Oompa band music, and if you like cigars, then this is going to be right up your alley.
And Fräuleins. Don't forget the Fräuleins.
And you'll be able to see Jew wearing lederhosen. More like, jeez. What do we got going on? Any of the shops happening? Anything's going on? Anything going on there?
Yeah, Cigar Scene happenings. We still have Cigar Bodega from Unionville. Sarah's doing a fantastic job up in the northeast area of Toronto. On Wednesday, July 29th, she's got a cigar cruise at 7 p.m. on Toronto waterfront. $115, including taxes. Always a wonderful time down on the Toronto waterfront. It's amazing to see that beautiful skyline. And if you're doing it on a boat with great food, great beverages, and great cigars, it just doesn't get any better. If you want to get more information about the 2015 Toronto Waterfront Cigar Cruise, go to www.cigarbodega.com. Secondly, quick shout out to Cigar Studio in Toronto, our international listeners. If you're visiting Toronto and are in the West End near the Royal York subway stop, go to Cigar Studio and ask for Jerry Hartman. Now, it's 50-50 as to whether or not you'll find him, because he seems to think he can golf, and he does get out on the golf course from now and then. But if you meet him, you'll always remember meeting Jerry, a great, great brother of the leaf, fantastic cigar advice. He's at 4 Willingdon Boulevard in Etobicoke, or you can get him on the World Wide Web at www.cigarstudio.com. A couple of more things in the cigar scene happenings. First off, hello to everybody who golfed today in the Havana House's Smokes and Strokes tournament at Bond Head. Roger, John, and the rest of the folks at Havana House, we hope you had a great day, and look forward to hearing all the exploits. And lastly, best of luck to the Pan Am Games weightlifters who are competing this week at the GM Center in Oshawa. So support your Pan Am Games. Next week, I believe it's boxing. So at this point, back to you, Kevin.
All right, let's get right back into it there, Mr. Leakster.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just sort of a segue from when we talked about you and your group getting together down in Jersey area. Okay, you got a group of 10 guys that sort of hang out and smoke together. So you come up here. Do you find is it the same sort of camaraderie? Are cigars the same up here as they are down in the States as far as like the group getting together? Or
Pretty much with in Albany where I am, there are a couple of cigar shops that are actually really good with really nice lounges. They have a decent group of guys that I go to Habana Cigar Shop, which is in the Colony section of Albany, not far from where I live, but much closer to where I work. And they're actually a pretty good group of guys. The staff there are great. And you can go there in the winter and sit inside, unlike up here where you're restricted on that.
Yeah, it's just so draconian.
It's
up here,
a little,
isn't it?
yeah, it's very strange for me because I'm not used to that. But being up here 3 times, it's kind of getting instilled.
Yeah.
But I have a pretty good rapport with that shop.
Yeah.
You know, they know me when I walk in. They always, you know, they have a little bit of a loyalty program. So when you buy cigars, you can earn points towards either a small gift card or something like that towards a later purchase.
Very cool.
But up here, I think obviously people are friendlier than back home. It's a whole different atmosphere for me. You know, you have a lot of the guys back home, if they don't know you, they won't really strike up a conversation unless they hear you talk about something they've either been to or something like that. But otherwise, back home, pretty much people stick to themselves. Up here, it seems like it's a little more get-together-ish.
That right, eh?
Yeah, for sure. In New Jersey, where when I go back home to visit my brother in New Jersey, I've been to the cigar shop in my hometown, and that place is actually fun. They order pizzas. They have beers in. They have in New Jersey, you can smoke indoors as well in the shops. And you can, but yeah, the shop owner thinks nothing. How many guys we got? Oh, 20 guys sitting here. I'll call the pizzeria down the street and they'll walk up the pizzas. And sure enough, last time I was there, the pizza delivery boy walked up with, you know, the warming packs full of pizzas. So cool. It was a really nice thing for the shop owner to do. And he didn't want any money for it. He's like, you're on your own for drinks, but you know, I'll order the pizzas.
Oh, that's
cool. So everybody was running to like the nearest convenience store to try to buy a Pepsi or a beer or whatever. But
classic.
It was funny. Yeah.
So, bottom line, at the end of the day, what brings you to Canada? What brings you to Ontario to come and smoke? I mean, it's a long bloody way for you to come.
It is. It's a little over 6 hours for me to get here. So but it's pretty much a straight shot once. I get to the border, and once I cross in, I usually come in through Thousand Islands and then head down. But I met the guys that hang out at Victory Cigars through Twitter, and I developed some really great friendships through a lot of the guys, including you too. And so it drives me up here. I mean, I was in Ottawa in the first week of June to visit some other Brothers of the Leaf that hang out up that way. And I spent the weekend with them. So I divide my time in one area of Ontario, and then Southern Ontario here gets the 2 weeks later or a month later.
That's
I should
perfect.
say. Yeah, I don't mind it, and it gets my wife out of cooking for 3 nights, so she's happy with that. She's like, go.
She must think you're crazy, eh?
No, not really, but she suggests I get a Canadian passport or sometimes. She's afraid I'm going to end up with an apartment up here. And that would be paying rent on my one back home plus one here.
Oh,
so.
geez, we don't want that.
No.
Other cigar travels, any other areas that you sort of like head to smoke?
Really, apart from the cigar festivals that I go to, no, not really. I divide my time between here so many times a year, and then back home, I usually go to the cigar shop, or my buddy has a nice big deck in his yard, and we'll go over there and smoke on his deck and have beers. But I would like to do one of these days like a factory tour similar to what you guys did in Honduras or Nicaragua.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen too much by us. It seems to happen a lot more by here, at least in Albany. The shop by us maybe has it once every couple of years. They'll go.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky, as retailers. I mean, it's kind of retailer driven, and we've been really lucky to have the opportunity to see numerous cigar factories, and it really is something that all true cigar lovers should see. It's fantastic.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah,
it really is cool. It really is. We are getting close on time here, but one last cigar-related question.
Sure.
What is it that you smoke in America? Something very sort of specific that you enjoy that you know is not available in Canada that you wish was up here for?
Oh, that I know is not available in Canada.
You know, I mean, is there something really obscure that you smoke down there? Or?
Not really. But last time I was here, I brought up a cigar called Sindicato Affinity, AFFINITY, and it was actually really good, a nice mild cigar. And in New York, they had quite a wide range of sizes of those sticks. And I brought some up for a couple of the guys, and they really liked them. They start at about $6.50 a stick and go to maybe $9 for the tops.
Nice.
And I thought when that came out, that was a really great stick for a starter person who maybe wanted to try something mild or just maybe just getting into it and wanted to find where their niche was.
Nothing too over the top for them, but
yep,
yeah.
it's not particularly expensive, especially by here standards.
Yeah,
it's very hard to find something under $10.
I know.
But those ones I thought were really good. I haven't had one of those in quite some time.
And what about Cuban cigars? There's something you're licking your lips and you can't wait to try when you hit the shop?
I don't know about can't wait to try. I think I've had it before, but I do like Cohiba Bahikis. And I do like Monte Cristo No. 2, Ramona Iones. I've had those, and I really, really love those. But Bolivar is right up probably in my top 2. So I would have to say Cohiba and then Bolivar.
Yeah, you know what?
They're great.
The Bahiki is a treat, but it's, boy, oh boy. It's, you better get don't tell your wife.
No, I won't. I told her I was going to splurge. So there's, if that may be it.
That's right. Well, I've got to say thank you very much for taking the trek to come to Victory Cigars and to come and see the boys of Victory. And I know you got a lot of followers up here that think you're a pretty cool guy. And thanks for your cigar knowledge. We
Likewise,
really
it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Thanks.
Jew, I think that's about it for another week. Better give out a little bit of contact information for everybody. If you want to contact us, you can email us at radio@victorycigars.ca. Of course, we have our Facebook page at Victory Cigars. You can look us up on Instagram as well. Check out Horatio. That's you, Julian, taking care of at Victory Cigars on Twitter. You can always check out the upcoming guests on www.cigarscene.ca. And our guest next week will be Mike Reed. He is a primatologist. I know it sounds crazy, but this guy is one crazy character, okay? Thank you again, everybody. And Jew, have a good vacation, eh?
Yeah, hey, I'm going to have a great vacation, and I'm going to try and phone in as well.
Cheers. Take care.
You've been listening to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101.